The latest developments in the bold and the beautiful have sent shockwaves through the town of Los Angeles as new revelations surrounding Luna Nozawa, Lee Finnegan, and Sheila Carter Sharp escalate into a high-stakes battle that threatens to redefine alliances, loyalties, and moral boundaries within the Forrester universe. In what could only be described as a dramatic twist of fate, the latest hints suggest that Lee, who has long been viewed as both protective and fiercely calculating, intervened to save Luna, preventing what might have been a fatal outcome. This sudden grave reversal has thrust both Lee and Sheila into uncharted ethical territory, forcing them to confront not only the immediate consequences of their actions, but also the broader legal and moral implications of manipulating a child whose life has become a pawn in their ongoing power struggles. The implications of Lee's intervention ripple outward, creating a complex web of obligation, threat, and control that now entangles every major player in the town. From Finn and Steffi to Poppy and beyond, Sheila, always the master strategist, sees in Luna an opportunity to regain influence, leverage old grudges, and manipulate the key players who have previously thwarted her ambitions. Known for her relentless pursuit of control, Sheila quickly moves to utilize Luna as both shield and weapon. Luna, whose innocence masks a latent resemblance to her scheming grandmother, becomes a central piece in Sheila's plan to manipulate Finn. By inserting Luna into situations that tug at Finn's protective instincts, Sheila subtly coerces him into choices that align with her broader objective, destabilizing Steffi and forcing a fracture in her marriage. Every interaction between Sheila, Luna, and Finn is loaded with tension, ethical ambiguity, and the potential for explosive revelation. The stakes could not be higher, as Steffi, unaware of the full extent of Sheila's manipulations, finds herself increasingly pressured, emotionally and strategically, into decisions that could alter the course of her life and her marriage. Sheila's ability to weaponize Luna against Finn creates a climate of suspense, where every glance, word, and decision carries hidden consequence, and the potential for miscalculation looms at every turn. Lee Finnegan, on the other hand, operates with a parallel but distinct agenda. Her decision to save Luna establishes her as a figure of moral authority, but it also positions her as a tactical player in a contest over influence and control. Lee recognizes that Luna's safety and autonomy can be leveraged in her own maneuvering against Sheila, creating a collision course between two formidable maternal forces. Lee's strategy is multifaceted. She must protect Luna, assert her own authority, and anticipate Sheila's next move. At the same time, Lee contemplates broader applications of her leverage, including the potential to influence other residents of Los Angeles. One speculation is that Lee might use Luna as a tool to pressure Poppy into leaving town, exploiting Poppy's vulnerabilities and attachments to achieve a larger strategic goal. Every step Lee takes is calculated, every choice measured against the potential risks of Sheila's countermaneuvers. The ethical dilemma at the heart of her actions, protecting a child while potentially using that child as leverage, adds a layer of psychological complexity to the unfolding drama, challenging viewers to question the boundaries between moral duty and strategic self-interest. The confrontation between Lee and Sheila is inevitable. Two dominant personalities, two fiercely protective women, and a single child at the center of their conflict create a narrative tension that is at once personal, ethical, and highly combustible. Sheila's manipulations of Luna to influence Finn and coerce Steffi create a counterpoint to Lee's protective yet strategic actions, ensuring that every interaction is charged with suspense and the potential for catastrophic consequence. Scenes featuring Lee and Sheila are expected to oscillate between icy standoffs, veiled threats, and dramatic confrontations that reveal the underlying power struggle over Luna's fate. Each move by either woman reshapes the emotional landscape for those around them, particularly Finn, whose loyalty, judgment, and emotional resilience are tested in unprecedented ways. The psychological pressure on Finn grows as Sheila escalates her manipulation, creating scenarios in which he must navigate between moral obligation and emotional vulnerability, while Lee's interventions complicate his ability to respond with clarity. Steffi, caught in the middle of this escalating conflict, faces her own set of pressures and uncertainties. As Sheila attempts to leverage Luna to manipulate Finn and force a rupture in her marriage, Steffi is placed in an impossible position, forced to confront the limitations of her agency in protecting both her child and her family. The tension between Steffi and Sheila escalates with every calculated move, as Steffi struggles to maintain control over her life, her marriage, and her maternal authority. Meanwhile, Finn's conflicted position compounds the drama, as his sense of duty, romantic loyalty, and protective instincts collide in increasingly high-stakes scenarios. Each character's decision-making is deeply intertwined with the others, creating a tightly woven narrative of suspense, emotional conflict, and strategic maneuvering that keeps viewers on edge. At the heart of this storyline is Luna, whose role as both victim and instrument of power becomes increasingly pronounced. Her presence serves as a catalyst for multiple plotlines: Sheila's schemes to destabilize Finn and Steffi, Lee's moral and strategic positioning, and the broader question of who ultimately controls the destiny of the Forrester family and their extended network of relationships. The duality of Luna's position, both protected and exploited, adds an unprecedented layer of complexity to the show, as viewers must navigate the tension between empathy for a child caught in adult conflicts and the recognition of Luna as a tool of manipulation. Every scene involving Luna is fraught with emotional intensity, as her reactions, decisions, and presence ripple across the town, influencing outcomes in ways that are simultaneously personal, ethical, and highly dramatic. The escalation continues as Sheila intensifies her efforts to manipulate Finn and coerce Steffi, leveraging Luna's resemblance to her grandmother and her own mastery of psychological influence. By carefully orchestrating encounters, Sheila pressures Finn into moral dilemmas that threaten to fracture his marriage and undermine Steffi's confidence. Simultaneously, Lee, aware of Sheila's tactics, responds with countermeasures that are calculated, strategic, and morally ambiguous. Lee's potential to use Luna as leverage over Poppy introduces another layer of complexity, as viewers anticipate whether she will prioritize personal advantage or ethical responsibility. The interplay of these competing agendas creates a high-tension atmosphere in which every action carries consequence, and the balance of power shifts with every calculated maneuver. In parallel, the broader narrative of the Forrester family is poised for dramatic upheaval. As Sheila and Lee navigate their contest for control over Luna, the ripple effects extend to other central characters, influencing romantic dynamics, business decisions, and the social fabric of Los Angeles. Finn and Steffi must contend with the direct impact of these schemes, while Poppy, potentially drawn into Lee's manipulative strategies, faces decisions that could alter her own trajectory. The stakes are enormous. Personal relationships, familial loyalty, and individual integrity are all tested in a narrative that combines suspense, moral complexity, and the high drama that The Bold and the Beautiful is known for. Sheila's ability to manipulate Luna effectively makes her a formidable force, capable of influencing multiple characters simultaneously while maintaining plausible deniability. Lee's strategic interventions, in contrast, highlight her intelligence, foresight, and willingness to confront ethical dilemmas head-on, creating a tension-filled dynamic that drives the narrative forward. As each woman asserts her influence over Luna, the town becomes a stage for psychological warfare, emotional confrontation, and strategic calculation, with every character caught in the crossfire. The psychological tension intensifies as Sheila's maneuvers push Finn to the brink, forcing him to make choices that challenge his moral compass, emotional resilience, and loyalty to Steffi. Simultaneously, Lee's protective instincts and strategic calculations create a counterbalance, ensuring that Luna's safety remains a central concern while also positioning Lee as a powerful player in the unfolding drama. The dynamic interplay between protection, manipulation, and control ensures that every scene is charged with suspense and that the potential for shocking revelations remains high. Luna's role as both victim and instrument of manipulation underscores the ethical complexity of the storyline. Sheila's attempts to use her as leverage highlight the moral ambiguity of her actions, while Lee's interventions create a tension between duty, strategy, and ethical responsibility. Each interaction with Luna carries weight, influencing outcomes from multiple characters and advancing the overarching narrative in unpredictable and highly dramatic ways. As the conflict escalates, viewers can anticipate increasingly bold maneuvers from both Sheila and Lee, each seeking to assert control over Luna and, by extension, the strategic and emotional landscape of the town. The potential for confrontation, revelation, and high-stakes drama is immense, as each woman's actions reverberate through the lives of Finn, Steffi, Poppy, and the extended Forrester family. The ethical dilemmas, strategic calculations, and emotional intensity converge to create a narrative that is both deeply engaging and unpredictably suspenseful. Ultimately, the battle for Luna becomes a microcosm of the broader themes of The Bold and the Beautiful: power, loyalty, manipulation, and the enduring complexity of human relationships. Sheila's manipulations, Lee's interventions, and the moral, legal, and emotional dilemmas they create ensure that every viewer is invested in the outcome, and that the unfolding drama remains compelling, tense, and endlessly engaging. The fate of Luna, the choices of Finn, the position of Steffi, and the potential displacement of Poppy all converge in a storyline that promises to deliver the high-stakes drama, moral complexity, and emotional intensity that has made The Bold and the Beautiful a cornerstone of daytime television. As the weeks progress, every interaction, decision, and revelation continues to escalate the tension, creating a narrative in which the ultimate outcome remains uncertain. Sheila's capacity for manipulation, Lee's strategic acumen, and the vulnerability of Luna converge to create a combustible mix of suspense, drama, and ethical ambiguity. Finn and Steffi's responses, coupled with Poppy's potential involvement, further heighten the stakes, ensuring that every scene resonates with intensity, consequence, and dramatic potential. The battle for control, influence, and moral authority reaches unprecedented levels, redefining relationships, testing loyalties, and ensuring that viewers remain riveted to every twist, turn, and revelation. The new week at The Bold and the Beautiful promises to turn Il Giardino into a high-stakes battlefield where past rivalries collide violently with present entanglements, creating a crucible of tension that could redefine the Spencer and Forrester families forever. From the moment the week begins, it is clear that the glamorous restaurant will no longer be a place of celebration or quiet indulgence. Instead, it becomes a tense arena where secrets, grudges, and alliances are tested under the harshest pressures. The collision course between the past and present is exemplified in the looming confrontation between Deacon Sharp and Sheila Carter, whose history of betrayal, manipulation, and violence casts a long shadow over the Spencer-Forrester families. Their shared history is legendary. Betrayal, heartbreak, and criminal activity have defined their previous encounters, and now, forced into the same space, old animosities simmer dangerously close to the surface. Their presence together in Il Giardino transforms what was supposed to be a celebratory gathering into a powder keg, as everyone around them becomes increasingly aware that the tension is more than just personal. It has the potential to erupt into chaos, violence, or legal disaster. At the center of this storm are Deacon and Sheila, whose paths converge around a complex tapestry of motives. Deacon, always the man balancing charm, cunning, and impulsive behavior, faces the challenge of confronting a woman whose influence over the lives of everyone he cares about has been both destructive and inescapable. Sheila, for her part, is calculating, merciless, and ever willing to leverage chaos for control. The week's events hint that the inevitable confrontation could include a police presence, a violent altercation, or even a high-risk hostage-like situation as emotions and stakes escalate beyond the ordinary. Both Deacon and Sheila are aware that the Spencer-Forrester families are watching, and the pressure of their scrutiny adds an additional layer of intensity to every move they make. Every word spoken, every gesture exchanged between these longtime adversaries is loaded with historical context, unspoken threats, and the potential for explosive consequence. Meanwhile, the Spencer and Forrester families are drawn into this dangerous intersection of past and present. Liam, Hope, Steffi, Finn, Ridge, Brooke, and even secondary players like Poppy and Flo find themselves unwittingly caught in the gravitational pull of Deacon and Sheila's unresolved history. Liam, whose ongoing tension with Hope over unresolved romantic complications continues to simmer, now must also navigate the dangerous unpredictability of Deacon's presence in Il Giardino. Hope, similarly, is forced to reconcile her protective instincts toward those she loves with the necessity of remaining composed in a space where violence could break out at any moment. Steffi, whose relationship with Finn is already complicated by Sheila's manipulations involving Luna, must confront the uncomfortable reality that Sheila's arrival at Il Giardino may destabilize her attempts to maintain a semblance of normalcy in her personal life. Finn, for his part, becomes a key pivot point in the unfolding drama, as Sheila's historical ability to manipulate those around her collides with his sense of moral responsibility and loyalty to Steffi. Every character's position within the restaurant is simultaneously literal and metaphorical, representing the intersections of history, loyalty, and imminent danger. Deacon's strategy is complex and unpredictable. Known for his impulsive nature, tempered with occasional cunning, He approaches Sheila with a mix of defiance and reluctant recognition of their mutual need to contain the escalating situation. Both of them are aware that their personal rivalry cannot be allowed to spiral unchecked in front of witnesses, particularly those who might report any criminal behavior. Yet the fire of past betrayals, coupled with lingering grudges, makes restraint a tenuous possibility. The build-up to confrontation is methodical. Tense glances, veiled threats, and carefully chosen words are exchanged as the crowd senses the underlying tension. Patrons, staff, and family members alike become nervous observers, uncertain whether the unfolding scenario will remain verbal or suddenly descend into physical confrontation. Il Giardino's normally elegant ambience is transformed into a stage where the past's shadow hangs heavily, threatening to consume anyone who steps too close. Sheila, ever the master manipulator, leverages both psychological tactics and historical knowledge to destabilize Deacon. She knows where his vulnerabilities lie, which emotional triggers can provoke irrational responses, and which allies in the Spencer and Forrester circles might be manipulated or intimidated to serve her ends. Every action is designed to push Deacon toward a point of overreaction, potentially creating an opening that Sheila can exploit to reassert influence over those who have long resisted her. The possibility of legal consequences looms as well, as Sheila's past criminal record makes any public escalation particularly perilous. Despite this, she exudes confidence, as if daring Deacon to make the first misstep that could ignite a chain reaction of events spiraling beyond either of their control. Simultaneously, Deacon must navigate the delicate balance of history, morality, and present circumstances. His connection to Sheila is complicated by layers of past intimacy, betrayal, and grudges that intersect with his responsibilities toward the current generation of Spencers and Forresters. He is acutely aware that a single misjudgment could lead to bloodshed, arrests, or permanent fracturing of familial alliances. Yet Deacon's protective instincts and personal pride make it unlikely that he will allow Sheila to dominate without pushback. As they maneuver within the confined space of Il Giardino, every step is a calculated risk, with both parties aware that a single spark could ignite a chain reaction affecting not just their own fates but the stability of everyone in the restaurant. The other characters become involuntary participants in this unfolding drama. Ridge, whose ongoing entanglements with Brooke, Taylor, and Sheila form a complex web of loyalty and rivalry, must reconcile his desire for personal resolution with the chaotic dynamics unfolding around him. Brooke, for her part, faces the dual challenge of protecting family and maintaining composure in the face of escalating hostility. Her presence complicates the interaction between Deacon and Sheila, as both recognize that her influence over Ridge and other Forresters could alter the balance of power. Finn, Steffi, and Liam all occupy precarious positions, their personal stakes intertwined with the immediate dangers posed by two adversaries whose history of manipulation, betrayal, and confrontation has long defined the narrative of the series. The anticipation of a violent or legally significant event is heightened by small but consequential provocations, subtle threats, strategic positioning within the restaurant, and whispered warnings among family members. Patrons, oblivious to the full history, sense tension but cannot gauge its magnitude, which amplifies the suspense. Il Giardino, typically a site of sophistication and enjoyment, is transformed into a pressure cooker environment where psychological, emotional, and potential physical conflict coexist. The narrative tension is further amplified by the uncertainty of when or if law enforcement might intervene, or if Deacon and Sheila might take matters into their own hands in ways that irrevocably alter the course of multiple lives. As the week unfolds, the tension escalates through a series of escalating confrontations. Verbal sparring between Deacon and Sheila grows sharper, with each insult, accusation, and insinuation strategically designed to provoke emotional or irrational responses. The presence of witnesses, family members, and secondary characters intensifies the stakes, as any miscalculation could have immediate and severe consequences. Subplots involving Finn's protective instincts towards Steffi, Liam's attempts to navigate his relationship with Hope amid chaos, and Ridge's ongoing romantic and familial entanglements converge in Il Giardino, creating a multi-layered tableau of suspense, strategy, and potential disaster. The drama is further amplified by potential alliances forced by circumstance. Both Deacon and Sheila are aware that continued escalation could lead to catastrophic outcomes, including legal repercussions, physical harm, or permanent fracturing of their influence. This awareness compels them toward a temporary and uneasy truce. A fragile alliance forged not from trust, but from the recognition that their mutual animosity could otherwise spiral into uncontrollable chaos. The necessity of this alliance creates dramatic tension, as viewers are left to wonder whether cooperation can hold under the strain of history, emotion, and opportunity. In the midst of this high-stakes conflict, minor characters like Poppy, Lee, Luna, and secondary Forrester and Spencer family members play pivotal supporting roles. Their actions and decisions capable of tipping the balance at critical moments. Each movement within Il Giardino is fraught with significance, as even seemingly trivial interactions, passing remarks, body language, or inadvertent intervention have the potential to catalyze major developments. Every second is pregnant with suspense, as the possibility of an arrest, a violent confrontation, or a shocking revelation looms overhead. Ultimately, the week transforms Il Giardino into a battleground in which history and the present collide violently, forcing adversaries into temporary alliances while threatening the stability of the entire Spencer-Forrester network. Every character is tested, from the fiery confrontations of Deacon and Sheila to the delicate negotiations and protective strategies of Ridge, Brooke, Liam, Steffi, and Finn. The week's narrative is a masterclass in tension, combining the high-stakes personal, emotional, and legal drama that has long defined the bold and the beautiful, ensuring that viewers are riveted from the first moment to the last, unable to predict who will emerge victorious, who will suffer loss, and who will be irrevocably changed by the events that unfold in the elegant, now perilous, halls of Il Giardino. The impending climax of the week promises moments of confrontation, revelation, and moral ambiguity, where every choice has consequence, every glance is loaded with meaning, and every character's fate hangs in the balance. As the tension between Deacon and Sheila reaches its apex, it becomes clear that Il Giardino is no longer just a restaurant, it is a symbolic arena for power, revenge, survival, and unexpected alliances. The week demonstrates the enduring appeal of the bold and the beautiful, complex characters, intertwined histories, unpredictable outcomes, and a drama that resonates with both emotional depth and relentless suspense, ensuring that fans remain glued to the screen, eagerly awaiting each new twist in a story where no one is safe and nothing is certain.